In this live self-defense training video, you're going to discover how you can use a self-defense walking stick. I'll be using this Martial Arts Joe. There's a link below if you want to see what the dimensions are, but Joes are typically the middle-sized martial arts staff. You can see that if my elbow is bent in a natural position and I'm walking with my walking stick or my staff, then there's a little bit that comes out of the top. So this is about 54 inches. The way these are often measured is you find the part that comes to, or the stick that comes up to about your armpit. So if you wanted to make your own, you'd buy a dowel rod, a long dowel rod, and cut it down, measure it to about this height. So you can use any kind of walking stick you want or trekking pole, but this is gonna be basic moves. It's gonna how you're gonna use your self-defense walking stick. The first thing that you're going to do is keep the stick between you and the threat. If you're walking and somebody comes up, they're very aggressive or it's an aggressive animal, you'll have the stick between you and the threat. So that's the first principle. The second principle is you need to ask yourself what you can remove or destroy on the threat. So if it's a person coming up to you aggressively, maybe they've got a weapon, multiple attackers, you would think about taking the end of this. Hello, Peter, it's good to see you. Peter's in Germany. You're gonna take this and thrust the tip of this straight into his nose. So it's a very simple motion, just like you're throwing a punch to the middle of his body. The difference is this hard piece of hickory is gonna come up and break his nose or smash the teeth down his throat or into the neck, maybe into the solar plexus. So this is just one way you can use your walking stick for self-defense. Just a fast, explosive, aggressive strike. The second way from this position would be to punch and turn. That's gonna bring the backside of this walking stick up along the side of his head for self-defense, or maybe your target will be into his upper arm. Maybe if it's a vicious animal that's approaching you, trying to hit you or bite you or attack you, you would bring that down. So where you put that end of your walking stick is determined by how high or low your arm goes when you throw that turning punch. So it just comes out and over. Simple move. You can also bring it back the other way by turning your palm coming back. Now that's a basic move that you can practice with a simple spin. This is just that figure eight or sideways figure eight. We also call that the infinity sign. If you think about carving a sideways 8 with your thumb, that's gonna allow you to practice these basic strikes. This is your right hand, put your right foot forward, stay behind your walking stick. When you fight with a martial arts Joe or a walking stick, it always stays between you and the threat. Now you're not gonna spin it like that in self-defense, back and forth. You're just gonna hit him once, or you're gonna bring it back and hit him on the other side. And again, you're thinking about what can you remove or destroy, his ability to see or be awake. Maybe you hit him in the head, knock him out, turn off his operating system, blurry his vision, break his nose, smash into the neck. Maybe he's got something in his hand, he's trying to punch or stab you, and you smash that hand with that turning strike. The next way from this position is to answer your phone. Bring your hand up like you're answering your phone. This is a simple way to block in self-defense that I teach. I'm gonna teach it tonight. I've got a class coming in just for self-defense, and it's a bunch of younger people, teenagers. I'm gonna teach them answer your phone, right? Everybody does this now. They might not know that, but answering your phone is a good way to stop an attack, a block. When you do it with your walking stick, that's gonna bring the long end of this hard piece of hickory right up between his legs, or again, maybe he's reaching, grabbing, you're gonna strike that hand, maybe bust him under the chin, but it just comes up really fast. And then when you have it up, your other hand is gonna take it in front, and now you have two hands, and you're going to simply thrust by extending your arms away from you. If you always also take a step when you do that, you're gonna be able to hit him with a lot of force. So these are all simple ways that you can use your walking stick for self-defense. So you lift it up, grab it, and thrust. From this position, pull it back with that back hand so that it's sliding along the front hand. So it just slides through here, your hand is mostly relaxed. Once it gets to the end, squeeze here, open this hand up a little bit, don't take it off, but allow it to come forward and slide down. As you slide down, you're going to also be pushing against your walking stick. And so that after you hit him with this thrust, pull, you can now bring it down with a big chopping motion right in the middle of the body, or maybe at an angle to the side of the head, into the neck for self-defense, into that upper arm, into the body. Maybe it's that vicious animal striking into the snout for self-defense. These are all self-defense motions just based on having it in this simple position. So bring it up, add a thrust, pull it back, and pushing here. From this position, slide your hand back and then punch with that backhand. And you can see that your backhand is now sliding, which is accelerating the strike. It's almost like another straight punch. And when you do that, this horizontal strike, now this hard piece of hickory coming against the jaw, coming against the neck, into the upper arm for self-defense, into the ribs, into the knees, into the vicious animal, striking with the backhand. All from this position. So you lift it up, answer your phone, get the other hand on it, thrust, pull, push this chopping strike, angular strike, or coming down on top, it could be a vertical strike, and then this backhand pushing. Now you can see that there's a lot of sliding that you're doing along your Joe martial arts staff or your walking stick. And you can practice by putting your hands on the outside, practice getting good at sliding this hand under, this hand over, turn it, slide this hand back out to the starting position, and this one out. Slide under, slide over, turn, and this is where the saying slow is smooth, smooth is fast comes in. If you start slowly, eventually you'll start to get better at this, you'll get more comfortable, you'll start to move a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. I see all the comments, I can't read them, my eyes are too old, but I appreciate your comments. I'll go back and check out the chat. I would love if you could leave me some comments in the comment section. And then my favorite thing to see is when you leave a comment and then you go and you comment on somebody else's comment, and you guys create a sense of community here. And I really appreciate that because that's how we all learn from each other. So from this position, just sliding here, and here. John says getting up from the floor with a stick. We're going to do that, John. That's a great idea. So from here to here, sliding it out. And what that's going to allow you to do is then practice these sliding strikes. And you can do them over the head. I'm trying not to hit the ceiling. You can do them from your shoulders. You can do them coming up from the side. You can do them into the knees or into that vicious animal. But you're just coming along in these different positions. Now another way to do it is kind of what I call the pull cue strike, where you slide through and you turn. In Japanese they call that ski, I think. T-S-U-K-I, however you would pronounce that. You're gonna slide and turn. And notice that when you do that, both hands turn over, the back hand turning up, the front hand turning over, and see how that locks your elbow? That means when you hit him, if he's bigger, your whole body might move back, but your hands aren't gonna collapse. If you can strike like this, you're gonna be able to push through him. You might have to retreat a little bit, but then you still have your stick. You can throw another strike. And so practicing changing hand positions, and all you're doing is you're bringing your hands to this position. See, you just have your hand over here. One hand comes under, the other hand comes on top, pushing through. There's that pull cue strike. Turning to the other side, coming under, backhand is on top, pushing through. And then you start to do the footwork, which just means stepping. If it's in your left hand is forward, step with your left. If your right foot's forward, step with your right. Keep it simple. Practice these strikes and then pushing strike. And you can see this is also kind of a spiraling motion. Your hand is coming like this. Your backhand is coming like this. All these spirals, when you use a walking stick for self-defense, will keep your weapon, your self-defense tool, from breaking. So you're sliding, your walking stick will be able to absorb the strike better with a blocking motion without splintering or breaking. It'll be able to deliver a lot more power because you're spiraling your hands together. And this takes a while to learn, but it's just this yin-yang. You see the yin-yang, the Koreans call it umyang, but this turning, remember there's like a white one and a black one, there's a little dot, and they look like a little teardrop on each side. But that's that concept of male, female, strong, weak, left, right, whatever you call it, wherever you have a dichotomy. But just one side to the other side. So I'm gonna lower the camera a little bit, and yeah, John, keep moving, keep training. Thank you, Kelly, for that motivation for John, or that encouragement. So using your stick, 2 hands is better than 1 when you're going down to the ground, because you're taking the weight off of your body. So from this position, if you're in a kneeling position, if you're on the ground first, you can put the stick in front of you and get the knee up. If you can get the knee up a little bit, it doesn't have to be all the way up. Then you'll move your stick back in, and you push your body into your stick. You put the weight into your body, into the stick. This is if you get knocked down and you need to get back up, or if you've fallen and you need to get back up. From here, then you can push yourself back. And it's the same way. I like you to practice this, John. If you can start from a standing position, we'll get the legs strong and warmed up first, and just tiny little motions, 2 hands on it, tiny little motions. And don't think of down, think of back and down. So don't think of just this, but think of this. You've got to strengthen the glutes, right? So many of us as men, as we get older, I'm going to bring the camera back up. So many men have weak glutes. It's a flat posterior. Looks like you could carry a bunch of books back there. I'm picturing a person as I was growing up. We always saw this gentleman, and he always had horrific back pain. And I'm sure if he's still alive, he probably isn't. Well, God forbid, God bless him, whatever. Anyway, he's probably not very mobile unless he's fixed his posterior. So many men neglect their glutes, and they literally roll everything forward. Their gut comes out here, and their back is constantly in pain. Now that's weak glutes. If you can get it back into the right position by strengthening your glutes, and this is the exercise, pushing back and down and using your stick. And if you don't have the stick, put your hands on the counter, on the back of a chair, on the back of the couch, and strengthen those glutes. Get this big, strong, powerful glutes, and that'll start to correct your posture. There are other things you should do to correct your posture. That's going to be a big part of it. Having strong glutes will keep you healthier. Now, that's just one way. John, we can make a whole video on how to get off of the ground using a stick or a cane, because it's a common issue. If you get knocked to the ground and you're not very mobile, you don't have great health in your knees anymore, your hips, or your body. How do you get off the floor? You can use the stick 1 inch at a time. Think of it in those terms. Get up a little bit, get a little bit higher, get up a little higher, get up a little higher. So John will give you some more on that, but that's the basics. So those are just some ways that I want you to practice hitting somebody for self-defense using your walking stick, in this case, the Joe martial arts staff. If you need a Joe, I recommend this. Is made by the guys that make my canes. It's called Cane Masters. And traditional Joe, Japanese martial arts stick, does not have what I call shark teeth. Doesn't have these in here. Now this will rip the skin just a little bit for self-defense, which is one reason. The other reason is when you get sweaty or other fluids on your hands that you can imagine in self-defense, this is gonna help you maintain it, hold your grip. But if you're used to a smooth Joe, like I was for so many years, that's gonna throw you off at first, like it did me. But after you do it for a while, it's no longer gonna become an issue, because you're gonna be comfortable with moving the Joe in all these different positions and strikes as you go through. And we're gonna work on all those, but I want you to get the basics first. Punch him in the nose, smash him up under the chin, turn with that strike, bring it back the other way. Answer your phone, thrust, pull, strike, punch with that backhand. I like a two-handed, I always like two-handed strikes the best. Two-handed strikes, my favorite one is this one right here. Imagine he's in your face. And this is another great one. Maybe he puts his hands on you. If he puts his hands on you, bring your stick up over his hands on his arms. It's gonna lay right here, and you're going to pull into you. His arms are gonna collapse because you're gonna hit those nerves, and that pressure from pulling, where is a strong position for you, it's gonna pull him down and then smash him through his teeth for self-defense, or his nose, and then box the sides of his ears, maybe thrust into his throat a little bit, smash him on top of the head, punch the side of his jaw, and it's self-defense. Multiple strikes, not one and done, over and over and over. Last thing I'll say is if someone grabs your staff, because the most favorite comment that people have, two things. One, they'll say, don't ever take a stick to a gunfight. And I said, well, when did I say that? When did I say, and I don't even make clickbait titles, right? Did I ever say that if someone's got a gun or an AR-15, I better watch what I'm saying, I'm gonna get the channel turned off, then you should bring a stick to defend yourself? No, I never said that. We're talking about you're out for a hike, you're minding your own business, there's a vicious animal, there's a group of thugs. How can you defend yourself if you have this? That's what we're talking about. But the second comment, favorite comment, is what happens if someone grabs the end of your stick. And I'm gonna give it to you really fast because I gotta go teach the little kids. We're working out right now. This is my 6th class today. And I've got 6 more tonight. It's crazy. I'm either super busy or not so busy. Right now is a busy time. If your hands are away from your body, see how there's distance between my hands and my body, and he grabs your stick, he's gonna be able to pull from that other end, and he might be able to rip it out of your hands. And you're gonna be looking like one of these, right? That's what it's gonna look like. If you instead lock your back hand and anchor it to your hip, or anchor it somewhere on your torso, anchor it to your body. The back hand is now anchored. The front hand is still on the stick. And he starts pulling on your walking stick, trying to get it out of your hand. He's gonna be pulling against the weight of your body. That's a lot more resistance, a lot more weight than if he's just pulling against the strength of your arms and your shoulders. So you wanna lock it to your hip as quickly as you can. You see him grabbing the end, you lock it, and then you're going to turn your hips away and turn your hips back in. Turn your hips away and in. As you turn your hips away, you're gonna drop the front hand down and then make a little circle with the front hand. So the hand's gonna come in and down. In and down. You can also go the other way, in and down. You can go this way and down, or you can go this way and down. If you're going this way, the circle is this direction. If you're going this way, the circle is that direction. That's that figure 8 that we practice over and over and over. When you bring it this way and down, his hands are gonna be at the other end, and he's going to end up looking something like this. He might have his hands like this. He's gonna end up like this. He might have his hands like this. He's gonna end up like this. So that small circle, then down, and you're turning with your whole body. So you turn away, turn back in, lean over a little bit. Push your hips back. That's why you need strong glutes. So from here to here, here, and you're pushing down with this front arm. And this is your lifting yourself out of your chair muscle, your triceps. So this is a strong move for most people. So you turn, push down, and then in. Turn, push down. The way you go in is you take a step with that front foot. So you turn and then push. Turn and push. And you have to practice it again and again. And at the beginning when you do it, especially if you have a friend or somebody grab it for you so you can test it, you're not gonna be able to do it well. It's not gonna feel right. And it's not your strength. Your strength is good, it's already good enough. It's being able to push your hips together. Turn your hips with your shoulders. Turn your hips and your shoulders and your hands all at the same time. You're gonna get better technique. And the more you practice it, the better you're gonna get. And eventually, doesn't matter how much bigger or stronger he is, he grabs that tip, you're gonna move, boom, and you're gonna be able to push it down, step, and then stick it through his throat for self-defense. That's just some of the basic moves you can do with this walking stick for self-defense. Again, this is the Martial Arts Joe. If you need one of these, check the first link below. This is almost indestructible. It's not, but it's one of the hardest things you can get. This is, if you do get one of these made, you can have them with this or without. You have to ask for it. But have it made in hickory. If you have it made in hickory, you can even get it 7/8 inches. This is a full inch. 7/8 inches will be a little bit thinner, but it's gonna be lighter and almost just as strong. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.